Now, a lot of people will probably wonder, knowing that during my life I did work for WSIC in Statesville, North Carolina, where I met my wife, Mary Helen, and her brother, Reverend Charles Sides, who married us, by the way. But how I got interested in radio, someone said, how in the world? To me, it was a mystery. And back in Pittsburgh, I was a young kid. KDKA Pittsburgh came into being in 1920. I was born in 1913, so you can figure how old I was. And to me, that was a mystery, because we had a very improvised radio set at that time. In fact, I think what they picked up the radio signal at one time was on a crystal set. But then we did get to a vacuum tube set and advanced. But anyway, I was so interested in radio from hearing that voice coming through the air as a mystery. I said, how do they do that? I'm turning on this little radio set and I hear their voice. And so I was going to a church at that time when I was a young kid. And as part of the church program, they had a man that he liked little kids, and he taught us how to play harmonica. And I was one of about 15 kids that played harmonica in the church, and we'd entertain the church people. And he said, boys, this is a boys' club at that time, how would you like to get on the radio? And I thought he was just kidding. He said, a new station opened up called WJAS. And I thought, I can't do that. My gosh, we're going to play on the radio. I can't do that. And he said, listen, all you do is just play your mouth organ. Just forget where you are. And he took us down. We all got on his trolley car, rode down to the studios of, is in a department store, WJAS in Pittsburgh. We went to the basement of that department store, and he took us to a place that had a padded room in there. And I remember a radio announcer getting in front of that microphone at WJAS. He said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to present a group of mouth organ artists from Brookline ME Church. He said, and he gave us a signal, and I saw the red light go on, and we started playing our mouth organs. And boy, I was thrilled. I came home and asked my mom and dad, did you hear it? Yeah, we heard it was good. And that just hit me. I thought, that's great. So after doing that, when I got older, I guess I was maybe just beginning high school, I guess, or earlier than that. I started hanging around radio stations in the city just trying to get on the air. And of course, no way, you had to have talent, and I hadn't been trained. And my friend Foster Janeway, by the way, about that time, he had bought a guitar, and I thought we sang pretty good, even though some people said it was kind of corny. But we went down to a radio station that was holding auditions for country music. And we went down there, and I could almost see the people back there laughing, and they said, thank you, boys. That was the audition. Now, we weren't on the air yet. We didn't make it. And we were upset about that. We thought we were great. And I said, Foster, did you see those dirty people laughing at us? And he said, of course I did. I said, let's put the guitar away. So we gave that up. So I decided maybe he wasn't interested in radio as much as I was anyway. I just talked him into that so I could get on the radio. But I kept on with it. I thought, well, if I can't play a musical instrument, I'm going to talk. Because I had a little bit of an inferiority complex. I don't know why, but I never thought I could do. I just had a complex. And these little this small radio, WWSW is a very small radio station. They had what they called a Gloom Chasers program down there. It was on 1,600 kilocycles, I think. Oh, well, about the Gloom Chasers, they knew, they sort of looked on me a little bit as a nuisance, but I told them I was one of their favorite fans. I told them I could get a bunch of new listeners if I could just hang around. So eventually they let me introduce one of the acts, you know, and I just picked up enough that I started really getting interested. I understand in these early days you didn't get any money for it, just messing around. They were giving me training, and I appreciate that. But then from there, I applied for a job at a newspaper because about this time now, I was finishing up my college work and had me thinking about my college career. And although I didn't take any courses in radio in college, because truthfully, my first year in college, my English grades weren't that great. And if it hadn't been for them opening up a commercial department, where for the first time I started making high grades, A's, straight A's, I wouldn't have made it through college. But anyway, to make a long story short, I did get my teaching degree, but the only work I had in radio involved being on the college newspaper for the last year, and I got training in newspaper writing, and also once in a while their regular newspaper announcer would give me a guest shot and let me read the news with him on WWSW again. But anyway, then from there, after I got out of college, I didn't have a job. Well, I'll take that back. My Aunt Elizabeth, that's my mother's sister, she was a teacher, and she got me a night job at Taylor Alderdice High School for 2 years as a night teacher. And I did okay, but I wasn't enthusiastic about it. And I told my parents, I said, I've got to look for something else. I passed a civil service test for a government job. I passed it, started working for the government. But while I was working for the government, I was working on the side, on my free time, for this weekly newspaper. And that newspaper asked me to get connected with a radio station to publicize the newspaper, and I did. It was a station called KQV. While working at KQV, I met a lot of famous people. Dave Garroway, the first man who mastered he was really the anchor for the Today Show, Dave Garroway. I met him and his mom. They had written a book and they were coming to KQV to publicize it. And he was just like a long lost relative. He shook my hand, and I didn't realize how famous he was. But I knew he was on a Today Show, but I didn't know that he would take time to talk to me. But I met Dave Garroway, and the fellow that described the Hindenburg disaster, Herb Morrison, he worked at that station, and he actually did not go on the air with the Hindenburg fire, you know, that big Zeppelin. He put it on a recording. He was the first announcer to put a recording on national network, and I met him. He was a friendly guy, and when I started meeting all these big guys in TV, I never, well, radio back then, I never thought I'd get into anything. I didn't expect to get anything big, but I loved radio.